Hey guys, this is Alex, and in today's video, I want to talk about playing the drums open-handed. I'm not a drummer, actually, believe it or not. I'm a piano player. I just started learning the drums a little over a year ago, so I think I'm coming to this instrument with kind of a unique perspective, and it's been a lot of fun. It was a New Year's resolution for me to learn the drums. Honestly, I did not realize that I was playing the drums weird or different from anyone else until I started posting a few videos on Reddit. And people started asking me questions like, hey, why are you playing that way? Are you aware that you're playing open-handed? And then there's always just been a lot of debate in the comments about whether or not this is a right or wrong way to play. So I just want to explain why I play this way and give a few thoughts on this as someone like an outsider, as a piano player coming to the drums for the first time. So first of all, I'll say on piano, the instrument behind me here, we do not have a dominant hand. And I learned this later on, like after I started looking into it, and I was like, am I doing this wrong? Am I playing incorrectly? And I looked up the reasons why. Why do people do this whole cross-handed thing, right? It seems like the reason why most people do that is because they have a dominant right hand. And their right hand is better at keeping time than their left hand. In my case, coming from piano, I mean, you do keep time in the left hand a lot because that's your bass hand. Oftentimes that hand is chunking out chords and the right hand is playing melodies. But growing up playing classical music and jazz, a lot of times the melody will run down into the left hand. It'll run back up to the right hand. Sometimes the right hand will keep time and then you need to flip to your left hand and vice versa. So for me, when I sat down at this instrument, all I saw was a piano. And I just saw, okay, I got stuff over here. I got stuff over here to my right. I'm just going to play whatever's over here in my left hand and then everything over here on my right hand. Now I did just kind of instinctively, like when I started playing, I was like, oh man, like I'm doing these grooves and I'm hitting the hi-hats over here and then I'm doing the same groove, but I just want to move over to the ride. Probably just makes sense to have my ride over here. So I want to give my thoughts on it. In my opinion, people always say, well, if you learn open-handed, you're going to have to learn every groove twice. I have not had that experience. As a matter of fact, moving my right over to my left, I also have a floor time over here to the left. There is almost no groove in which I'm ever having to flip anymore and start really like keeping time with the right hand. I can, and I do sometimes, but really, I mean, these toms here are for fills. That tom there is to ride on. And generally, I mean, you're not really riding on your rack toms all that often. So for me, I got ride, ride, ride. I got a crash here and then two crashes on the right side. And it just made sense. I do think that this setup also made a little bit more sense for me because I'm someone who's mixed-handed, not open-handed. I'm mixed-handed, which means I throw a ball right-handed, I bat right-handed, I golf right-handed, I would swing an axe right-handed or throw a punch right-handed, but I write left-handed, I eat left-handed, I drink left-handed, and if I were to text you one-handed, I'd probably do that with my left hand. And it just always seemed to me like my left hand is better at dexterity tasks, and my right arm is my stronger arm, so it's what I like to beat on the drum heads with. And as an audio engineer, that's really what you want. Any audio engineer will tell you, drummers, please play light on the cymbals and play heavy on the drum heads. So, for me, it was the best of both worlds. And I'll say I kick a football or a soccer ball with my right foot, not my left. My right foot is my stronger foot. And I can't really think of many things I've ever used my left foot for. So again, it just made sense to have the right foot on the kick. So it was the best of all worlds. Now, I do want to talk about some positives and negatives with this because I think that gets thrown around a lot of like, there are some positives, there are some negatives to playing open-handed, and I'm interested in you guys' thoughts. For me, really, the biggest negative of playing open-handed, there's two. The first is when I sit down at other people's drum kits, it means that I got to pick up my ride and move it to the left. Now, I think that that's actually much, much easier to do than playing full-on lefty, in my opinion. Playing full-on lefty, you basically got to reverse the kit. In my case, I just got to move one cymbal over to the left. And if I were playing a gig, I would just show up with another ride stand or something and put it on the left. So that's a downside, but also a bit of a convenience as opposed to playing full on lefty. The other thing that makes learning open-handed just a little bit harder, in my opinion, is the fact that all the videos that I watch of people playing the drums are people playing like this. And so when I'm learning the drums, which I use an iPad in front of me, I use the Songster app, and I do watch a lot of drum covers and play along with those. It's a little bit harder to just follow along because my fills match up with the drummer on the screen. But sometimes, you know, when I'm doing change ups or doing crashes and stuff, I'm hitting with the opposite hand than what the drummer on the screen is. So that's probably like the two downfalls of playing open-handed. But really, when I think about it, both of those things, they're not really downfalls of playing open-handed itself. They're really downfalls of being different from other people. If everybody played open-handed, I wouldn't have either of those two issues. So, you know, it is what it is. Some benefits, on the other hand, that I think, you know, really presented themselves when I started, you know, getting better was I found that it was very easy for me to be keeping the groove over here and moving around the kit. And, you know, doing tom fills with the right hand, or, you know, not having to break my groove in order to hit a crash or something like I think some right-handed drummers would do. Now, I'm not saying that you can't do all of that stuff, you know, playing like this. If it was all that big of a deal, I don't think 99% of drummers would play this way. But, you know, one of my favorite drummers is actually Josh Eppard from Coheed and Cambria. And a lot of people say his fills are really difficult, or like it's just hard to play along with him because he's an open-handed player. And I found that for me, it came very easy. And I was like, oh yeah, this makes total sense to play this way. So I do think that that's a benefit. I do think as well, it makes me sound a little bit different, I think, than right-handed drummers, because I'm more inclined to come over here and do things on the hi-hat because my hands are just in the perfect position to be doing, you know, little fills and stuff over there. So I do like that as well. The last thing I'll say, I mean, you could call this a benefit or a negative, is you look different. So again, every time I post a video, people ask me, why are you playing open-handed? Some people really dig it. Some people say you should play lefty, or this is a bad habit to play this way. And I just think it's really interesting, you know, because again, as a piano player, I'm like, oh, what's the difference? I mean, I'm hitting things over here, hitting things over here. So yeah, I just wanted to share my thoughts on this because I think it's an interesting topic. It's fun. And, you know, I think if you're a right-handed player and you play like this, maybe just try playing open-handed, see how you like it. Because I think it does make you think a little bit different. And certainly when I had my ride over here and I have experimented with putting a second hi-hat on my right-hand side, it just feels different, and I feel like I'm more inclined to go to different fills and things like that. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'm kind of just curious, and I just think it's a fun topic to talk about. So let me know what you think down in the comments.